It's a part of the Story Over Everything collective. This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. Find all my work at mjmunoz.com. Henshin Inspection presents Super Sentai Sanctuary. I will be discussing what makes a villain. This is Super Sentai Sanctuary, episode 16, Not Happening. This episode of Avataro Sentai Donbrothers, which is the 16th episode entitled Switching to Evil, originally aired June 19, 2022. The writer is Toshiki Inoue, the director is Hiroyuki Kato. The one big negative thing I have to say about this is Jirou is lying and the show is cheating us of resolving that to have an integrated 6th Donbrother right away. At least that's what I suspect, probably for toy sales and all that stuff. You want to release that, second quarter wave of toys with the, Dondragoku in it. So I don't like that. I think that's pretty lame. Positive thing I have to say, Tsuyoshi getting to shine in part because of Miho's encouragement was great. I love how he was, like the little engine who could, and he came into the fight confidently, and he was able to really severely help take out Jirou, Dondragoku. Ugh, these names. Anyway, and then Haruka slapping him was pretty lovely. I absolutely love that. So, good stuff. It's illogical, it's dumb, but I like it because it's just so, Toei Tokusatsu-y. It's good stuff. It kind of reminds me of the very final fight of Kamen Rider Fourze proper. Man, that was good. Anyway, moving on to direction, I wanted to say the performance from Raizo Ishikawa as evil Momotani, or Jirou, is cool. He's hammy and sinister and feels so different from before, so I really like and appreciate that. I don't know, I like evil Tommy, and it felt reminiscent of that. And my kid was trying to watch Power Ranger stuff, and I found like some obscure sort of like semi-official I think it was a Hasbro Power Rangers channel, and they had a clip from Ninja Steel, which I didn't watch, and it had evil Tommy, like a robot ranger, evil Tommy guy fighting the regular Tommy, and he transformed into his 3 to 5 different forms or whatever. So that was fun. Anyway, moving on from there, because this isn't Power Rangers, it's Super Sentai. It's for better, more mature people like me. Anyway, something about the writing I want to talk about is, in the moment I laughed at the idea of Momotani killing the Donbrothers and getting a new team from the last episode, but here they call back to it as sinister, and it really is. That's either great writing or I'm a easy mark, I can't quite tell, because the same moment feels like it has such a different intention and focus, and it should make you feel different things, and it effectively does make me feel something different with these two different contexts that it was framed in. So that's kind of interesting. I'm not going to read any of the general notes. I'm going to go into, I guess, my reflection of what makes a villain. So, yeah, I think, like I said, I believe they're lying to us in the show about Jirou just unbecoming evil because Haruka slapped him. As funny and satisfying as that was, and as satisfying as that would be, I don't think that's what actually did it. And I don't know if something is fundamentally wrong with Jirou. I can't tell if he's actually younger. Is he supposed to be 17? He's not. He's older. The actor's definitely, in his 20s, but I think I'm remembering correctly that he was also, born 22 years ago. So, or at least appeared in the world in Japan 22 years ago. So, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. What makes a person evil? Obviously, what makes a person evil, what's clear, here's the most clear, succinct definition. What makes a person evil is that they do evil acts. So, very elementary. However, you have to ask the question then, go work your way backwards. What are evil acts? What is an evil action? Is an evil action hitting a person? Well, no. And we can examine through that through the lens of the show, right? The Super Sentai heroes all the time, the Donbrothers, are constantly hitting monsters. They're hitting people who've been turned into monsters. So they're hitting them, they're using violence, they're beating them up until they're able to save them and cure them from being monsters. Now, because of their Donbrothers tools, somehow they're able to use those to cleanse the people and purify them of the things that are corrupting them, the Hitsutsuki, and then the monster itself is destroyed and the person is left free. Now, why is it important to make the distinction, and why is it important to free the person from the monster? Well, the person didn't actually actively aggress. They were being acted upon by the, bad Sentai monster, spirit, so to speak, that turned them into the Hitsutsuki. So they were that thing, the bad Sentai monster thing from the past, is like a parasite, and it takes over the person, and it uses their body as like a host in order to manifest itself to do these evil actions. So it's not that the innocent victim, who was sad or depressed or whatever it was, is actually actively aggressing. They're just the channel through which this negative action is coming. So if we can agree upon that, then okay, why are the actions of the monsters evil? What's bad about them? Well, they're harming not only that individual, the victim, but they're harming other people. So why is it evil to harm people? And how is that linked to Taro not wanting to hurt people? Well, people who aren't doing anything don't deserve to be aggressed upon. Perhaps Taro, because he's this ascended being, he's this, you know, greater thing, he's this cerebrin or whatever he is at such a higher level than regular human beings that he can't help but feel as if it would be morally compromising himself for him to hit people, especially because we saw that he could take an attack from like a team of like 12 Bancho, like gangster Yu Yu Hakusho type guys, and be perfectly fine. I mean, he was bruised up, but they were beat up from hitting him. So that just like tells you how dramatic the difference is between his power level and theirs. But anyway, you know, there's something about the harm that you cause to other people being evil that is like central to this idea that I'm discussing. And honestly, I don't have this fully fleshed out. I know I'm trying to like set aside my personal morals and values, although I don't know if that's something I should do. Maybe that's goofy and I shouldn't do that at all. But like, no, I'm gonna lean back into them. Basically, you own yourself, and you have the right to do with yourself what you want to, as long as you don't harm others. So, I mean, basically, my moral principle goes down to, you know, not harming people. And I would say evil actions are actions that are undertaken to harm people who you have no right to harm. Well, who do you have a right to harm? You have the right to harm somebody who's aggressing against you and who is causing harm to you, or who's trying to hurt you, or maybe even take your things, because if there's no solid rule of like ownership and of like self-possession, if nobody's allowed to set boundaries, then that just opens the door for all sorts of moral failings. I'm married, right? So let's say my oh gosh, I'm trying not to be like really gross. Oh man, I can't. Basically, here's the thing. I'll put it this way. If you remove the barriers and you say that individuals don't actually have self-possession and a right to set boundaries for what they are willing to do and what they're not willing to do, then that basically, really, it does open the door for slavery. Because if I am somehow entitled to the right, or if I am somehow entitled to something that you have, let's say, I open up, let's just use a super concrete example. Let's say I open up Super Sentai Sanctuary to be a paid thing. And if you've never paid for it, I could somehow like hack you. Let's say I was a hacker. I somehow hacked you in order to extract from you a certain amount of money for every episode you listen to or something like that. That's wrong. That's stealing. That's theft. That's harm that I'm causing you. And the approach, like the mental hoops I would have to jump through to justify that, are basically that your right, like you no longer have a right to your money, and somehow I have ownership over you to extract that money from you and steal it from you. What gives me that right? Nothing does in reality. But for me to act as if that were the truth, that would be an act of evil, because I'm denying your freedom and your choice and your ability to say, I don't want to give this to you, I want to give this to someone else, or I want to hold on to it, or whatever. I'm denying you your right to freely use what's yours, and I'm trying to take it from you. And I think that's a decent example. So, you know, what makes a person a villain? A person becomes a villain when they stop caring about the rights of others, or when they care about themselves and their desires more than the rights of others to be left free, happy, and whole. And instead they take from them, which really is exemplified in how Jirou goes, or in what he does when he turns evil. Now, why does he turn evil? What's going on with that? I don't know. Is he perhaps not a cerebrin? Is he someone else? Is he something else? I don't know. But it is interesting that he was, like, if he was truly evil, which I'm assuming he is, and then he lied, so he's now formed a deception on top to cover over his evil actions so that he can continue them at some later point because Haruka stopped him somehow, then what, I guess we also need to think about how that ties into the video gamer who wanted to win. He wanted to beat it so aggressively that he became a monster. Anyway, like, he didn't care how he had to hurt other people in order for him to have his victory and him to be able to win, whatever game or whatever level he was playing at. So I guess in the same way, that's what happened with Jirou. He wanted so badly to be the successor of Taro that he was willing to destroy the entire team, taking away the powers of the other Donbrothers, taking away their ability, their property, this thing that belonged to them, and in their glasses, and then taking away their ability to help other people with the use of their powers and their glasses and their Donbrothers gear. And then ultimately he wanted to execute, kill, murder. Let's just be honest. He wanted to murder Taro in order to take the place of that hero and that savior, because he wanted it for his own glory, his own aggrandizement, his own satisfaction. So, I mean, those are evil actions. Why did he become a villain? Why was he doing these evil actions? Again, I don't know why the switch flipped, and I do feel like a switch legitimately did flip. There was something in him that changed. But I don't know what it is. Maybe that's a mystery that Inoue is seeding to be explored later on, which is why, things were hidden the way they were in this episode. Anyway, that's all I want to say about that. I'm going to move on to the next section. I want to tell you my score for the episode. Despite positive things I had to say about it, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I'm going to say this was a solid episode. The action was great. Evil Jirou was cool, but ultimately I feel like there's some deception going on that doesn't make sense. I think Jirou lied, and the show is hiding that right out in the open, and that feels dumb and wrong to me. And it takes away something, but I'm not sure what. So maybe I'm being a little unfair. Maybe I'm being a little extra critical, but I don't mind. It's my right to be. I think I'm trying to be really fair, and I think in the past I've given the episodes very high marks, and I'm not saying I haven't done it. I'm not overcompensating and swinging the other way, but I just want to be careful that I'm not like always constantly giving this episode or this show great scores when maybe there's something lacking. So I want to make sure I'm being fair and being upfront about things. Anyway, that's all I have to say for now. Go to mjmunoz.com and look up Super Sentai Sanctuary in the search bar and find the rest of the analysis of Super Sentai that I've done there so far, as well as other things. I got comic books, I got some Star Wars stuff. There's stuff all over the place on mjmunoz.com up in the author, artist, and analyzer tabs or menus where you can find me talking about all sorts of stuff, making stories, and making characters. And every time I make a character, I pretty much make a story for that individual, and leads me to all this other stuff. So anyway, I appreciate you listening, and I leave you with peace and blessings. This is MJ signing out.